Today we'll be checking out all the tracks in the World Endurance Championship that can be found in Forza Horizon 5. Tracks include Spa-Francorchamps, Monza and Sebring. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. Unfortunately, we don't have all the tracks from the 2023 series of the World Endurance Championship, so we'll be mixing ones that we do have with the available ones from 2024. The tracks absent from 2023 are FUJI, Bahrain and most importantly, the Le Mans Circuit de la Sarthe. The tracks absent from the 2024 World Endurance Championship are Cota and IMOLA, sort of. All relevant information to find the blueprint is in the description. A common theme we'll be seeing with these tracks is Forza not doing very well with altitude due to the fact that we can't set the start/finish line wherever we want, which is one of the stupidest and most infuriating aspects of, well, Creator, Eventlab, Route Creator, all of that. So a lot of these tracks will suddenly have inclines and declines where there shouldn't be any. So you've just been watching a lap of the Sebring track, the international circuit that is. There's some brilliant racing this year there, the introduction of many hypercars. This circuit, I think it's not the only one that has this issue, but for me, I think they are too narrow. It should be a bit wider to be realistic, but apart from that, if you look at it on a map, if you rotate it a bit, that is basically accurate. So, let's move on. Qatar and IMOLA from next year's championship not being available. Moving on to Spa-Francorchamps. So what this track does really well is the implementation of the altitude situation. Because of the fact that there's a road which goes downhill where they started the track, you can actually go downhill and then uphill to Eau Rouge, which is a bit bumpy unfortunately, but apart from that it's alright. And then you are at an altitude where you can then have a flat, well, sort of flat circuit until it descends. Ah yes, I forgot about that. This track has a rather peculiar situation. It's a bit too short. I think some of the straights in particular are shorter than they are in real life. So the braking points are completely weird. And if you're used to Spa from different games, Assetto Corsa, Project Cars, whatever, it just feels a bit weird because you're braking at different... It's a sort of shrunk down... Yeah, it's basically shrunk down. So in this modified Supra, I am half a minute faster than in a GT3 car in Assetto Corsa Competizione, which doesn't seem quite right. Oh, there's a tree there. Ah! Again, here we see that the circuits are quite tight and they don't have any runoff areas, which I suppose is alright, because it means you don't have to worry about track limits, so you don't have to have checkpoints and stuff. Okay, this corner in particular is done very weirdly, because it's in the air, curbs obviously didn't really make sense, so we've got this weird, well, wall, basically, which you can drive into sometimes. Coming up to the start-finish line. First corner. And across the line. Next up, we have Monza, I think. Ouch. This reminds me of the short I uploaded recently. My personal favourite of the events that I'm going to be showing you in this video, Monza. This is done really well. It's wide, it's got pit lanes, it's got greenery, it's got a little bridge where there usually is a little bridge, and I forgot to press brakes where I usually would press for brakes. Anyway, this is one of the most accurate recreations of any track, as far as I'm aware, like in the entirety of Forza. It's very smooth, which is done, that's something you can't take for granted. Because a lot of tracks are extremely bumpy. Whoa! There's supposed to be a curb on the outside there in real life, but that's like, I need to nitpick this one because it's so good. That was just me being incompetent because I was talking while trying to... And this is a downhilly bit and then an uphilly bit. Into Ascari, where you can get pushed wide and die. Anyway, this is one of the only places you can sort of cheat the track limits, but you do go flying if you do that. On to the long back straight, and flying decorations and stuff and things. Here is a slightly interesting feature of this circuit. It suddenly goes downhill with a leap. Thank you, Forza, for not letting us place start-finish lines wherever we want them. And there's suddenly a tree in the middle of the whole thing. That was that for this circuit. Moving on to a track from next year's WEC. And here it is, Interlagos. Sort of, yes. Except, well, yeah, it is actually. It's a very good track. It's done quite well using not too much elevation change at the start. It's a bit more gradual. Ouch. However, that means we've got a lot of foliage on the circuit. So just pretend this is after a storm or something. Or that tarmac is a good surface to grow plants on. I don't know that much about Interlagos in terms of the track layout, but from what I can tell by comparing pictures in real life and, well, this, it's quite good. It's quite accurate. Certainly fun to drive. A stock Alpine isn't necessarily the car to really appreciate it in. But in cars with a lot more downforce, this would certainly be very fun. Whoa, that's a bit bouncier than I'd hoped it would be. It really is a shame that Forza's route builder is so limited. Wow, that's a leap. Across the line we go. Which means, because we don't have Fuji or the season finale Bahrain in Forza, we're going to have to finish with the Lone Star Le Mans track, whatever a Lone Star Le Mans is. Honestly, I still have no idea. If anyone could explain, please do. At Cota, Circuit of the Americas. Let's go. So, for the Cota map, you start in the pit lane, which is actually a very good idea, and instead of having laps, you have progress. So, you just have to do as many laps as you want. Because unless you go into the pit lane, it won't ever end. Yeah, by the way, YouTube compression will not like this circuit because of all the individual wooden planks. I'm not that sure about the first sector of this track. I'm convinced in real life the turns are more sharp and you can't go as flat and in a straight line. But apart from that, this track is very good. And because of the fact that you don't start in the actual... Because of the fact you don't start on the racetrack, you can do the whole thing without any elevation changes where there aren't supposed to be any. Whoa. Problem with this track is you can't really use it for racing because it's... Well, it's not got any checkpoints, really. And it's got... the others didn't have enough runoff. This one's got too much. As we come around for the last... Wow. I've just been forced into the finish line. Okay. The problem is if you go... Also, another problem with this track. If you go in the pit lane, this happens. Prepare your ears. Yes, now you've just got that for the next 20 minutes. Oh no, it's gone! Whoa, and we've spun the Glickenhaus. I'm sure we've seen that a couple of times at Le Mans. And on that note, I do hope you enjoyed this video. A reminder, all relevant information to find these blueprints are in the description. Have a nice day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and send a super thanks if you're feeling particularly generous and would like to support the show. The show? This isn't really a show, it's more of a YouTube... Anyway, goodbye!